Alright mate, brace yourself. This isn't the Arsenal you were watching last season. We're talking Arsenal 2026, coming in hot. Sharper, quicker, deeper, and ready to steamroll anyone who dares step up. Every weak spot that cost him the Premier League and Champions League, spotted, sorted, and smashed. So, how are they pulling this off? And who's in the squad making it happen? Let's dive in. Last season, Arsenal were right in the thick of the Premier League race. They finished second, only losing 4 games, same as Liverpool. The issue wasn't the losses, it was those frustrating draws piling up. Week after week, they dominate matches, create chances, but couldn't land the killer blow. Over in Europe, though, they reminded everyone why they're still top dogs. They beat PSG 2-0 in the new league phase, then did the impossible, knocked Real Madrid out in the quarterfinals with a 5-1 thrashing. That wasn't luck, that was a statement. But their Champions League dream crashed in the semis when PSG got their revenge. Gut punch exit, especially after the journey they'd been on. Now, heading into 2026, Arsenal aren't just looking to compete, they're out to dominate. But to get there, they had to face some hard truths about last season. The cracks were obvious, boiling down to 3 big issues: inconsistency, lack of squad depth in key spots, and not finishing chances when it mattered. First up, let's talk about that inconsistency. It's what quietly killed their season. One day, Arsenal could outplay Europe's finest. Then the next weekend, they'd struggle to break down a mid-table side. In the league, it showed up in those frustrating draws, games where they had control, tons of possession, and plenty of chances, but walked away with just a point. They weren't playing bad, far from it. They dominate, but the final punch wasn't always there. That inability to keep the same high level week in, week out meant they couldn't pull away at the top. Even in Europe, where they had some unreal nights, there were moments when the intensity dropped. Against PSG in the semis, they didn't look like the same squad that dismantled Real Madrid. The energy, the sharpness, the decision-making, it just wasn't at the same level. And at the top, you get punished for that. Arteta knows better than anyone. A team chasing big trophies can't afford those dips. That brings us to the second issue, lack of proper squad depth in crucial spots, especially when injuries hit. Looking back, some of the biggest turning points came when key players went down. Saka on the right wing, Gabriel in defense, and Odegaard in midfield, all sidelined at times. It's not that the backups were rubbish. Guys like Kiwior and Vieira have quality, but they couldn't match what the starters bring. Saka's flair, Gabriel's command and aerial strength, Odegaard's creativity, those are tough to replace, and Arsenal didn't have like-for-like options to step in without a drop-off. By the end of the season, the squad looked knackered. That lack of depth didn't just hurt in the league, it cost them in the Champions League, where 1 or 2 missing players can flip a whole tie. And when you pair that thin squad with the third issue, not finishing chances, it's clear why last season ended empty-handed. The third problem was simple, but cost them big time. Arsenal weren't clinical enough. Too many games where they ran the show, carved out clear chances, but couldn't seal the deal. Look at the FA Cup loss to Manchester United. Perfect example. Arsenal were the better side for most of the game, but they couldn't put it away. Havertz, in particular, had chances to bury United, but that killer instinct was missing. At the highest level, you don't get away with that. One missed chance can turn a game, and Arsenal learned that the hard way. Arteta knew he had to fix this to turn Arsenal from contenders into champions. This summer wasn't just about adding talent. It was about building a squad that dominates at the back, controls the midfield, and finally gets ruthless up top. And it all starts where every great team does: defense. Last season, David Raya was a massive reason Arsenal stayed in games. He wasn't just stopping routine shots, he was pulling off game-changing saves. Quick reflexes, cool under pressure, and able to start attacks with pinpoint passes. He was one of their MVPs. The problem was, there was no real backup. That's changing this season, with Kepa Arrizabalaga coming in. His lone spell at Bournemouth showed he's still got sharp reflexes, quick feet, and the guts to come off his line. More importantly, he's comfy in a possession-based system. He can rotate in big games, give Raya a breather, or even push for the #1 spot if his form's on point.
Up ahead, the Saliba-Gabriel partnership is still world-class. Saliba's all about calm and perfect reading of the game, while Gabriel brings muscle, aerial dominance, and aggression. They're a perfect match, and Arteta is going to keep that chemistry locked in. The fullback spots have leveled up too. On the right, Jurriën Timber's fully settled in. His passing, movement, and timing make him a natural fit. Way better suited there than in central defense.
Over on the left, Riccardo Calafiori brings defensive grit and even a bit of goal threat. We saw flashes of it at Bologna, though injuries kept him from showing it consistently. That's why Lewis Kelly's so key. Young, fast, technically gifted, and able to slide into midfield to give Arsenal flexibility going forward. Then there's the wild card, Mosquera. From what we've seen, this guy thrives in physical battles, ain't scared of a scrap, and has the speed to recover if he gets caught out. He's tough, gritty, and brings the kind of edge you want in a squad player, someone you can trust in high-pressure games. Last season, the midfield wasn't bad, but it was stretched thin. The starting trio of Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard looked solid on paper, but Partey's injuries and Jorginho's limits when he stepped in showed the cracks. They could still control games, but struggled against high presses or physically tough opponents. When Partey left for Villarreal after turning down a new deal and Jorginho moved on, it left gaps in both defensive cover and build-up play. Arteta wasn't about to roll into another season with that risk. First signing? Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad. He's exactly what Arsenal were missing. He doesn't just keep possession, he speeds up the game when it's needed. His biggest strength? Making space for others. Watch him closely and you'll see how he pulls defenders out of position with a quick sidestep, opening up lanes for his teammates. In preseason, he already looked at home next to Rice, dropping deep to let Rice push forward without leaving gaps. Then there's Christian Norgard, a signing for control, not flash. He brings physicality, aerial power, and relentless pressing. He's the guy who shuts down counters before they get dangerous. Unlike Jorginho, who Arteta used for slower, possession-heavy games, Norgard can bring defensive steel in high-intensity matches and get the ball moving quick to match Arsenal's tempo. Declan Rice is still the heartbeat of this midfield. Last season, he wasn't just a ball winner, he was a driving force, carrying the ball with authority, pinging progressive passes, and even chipping in with big goals. With Zubimendi behind him, Rice has more freedom to get forward, giving Arsenal extra goal threat and another line breaker in midfield. Then you've got Mikel Merino, who brings a different vibe. At Real Sociedad, he was known for ghosting into the box like a second striker. You could see that instinct when he played for Arsenal last season, finding spaces others missed. With a proper finisher up top, those runs could become a deadly weapon. And don't sleep on Martin Odegaard. Last season wasn't his best. 6 goals and 12 assists in 45 games is decent, but not his usual standard. This year, with a deeper, more balanced squad, he can focus on what he does best: killer passes, setting the tempo, and getting into scoring positions. History shows he gets better every season, and a fresh Odegaard could be a nightmare for defenses. Then there's the flexibility factor. Havertz could slide into the number 10 role in certain games. His best moments at Bayer Leverkusen came as a false 9, slipping into spaces defenders couldn't track. At Arsenal, that role could suit him, especially if defenses are locked on the new center forward and overlook Havertz. And don't forget Ethan Nwaneri, young, technically gifted, and fearless. Arteta's giving him minutes, and while he won't start every big game, he could be a spark off the bench when Arsenal need fresh ideas. This new midfield's got something the old one didn't: versatility. Last season, the attack had its moments, but leaned way too hard on Bukayo Saka. Every big game, every tight spot, the ball went to the right wing, and Saka had to make something happen. When he was on, it worked, but injuries sidelined him at times, and Arsenal's threat took a hit. But the real game changer? They finally got a proper backup who can win games too: Noni Madueke. He's not a straight swap for Saka, and that's the beauty of it. Madueke brings a different kind of chaos: sharper dribbling, direct runs to the heart of the defense, and no fear going into duels from the first touch. Arsenal can rest Saka without losing their edge on the right, and in some games, they could even play both to overwhelm defenses. On the left,
Arsenal have two wildly different but equally lethal weapons, Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard. Martinelli is all about pace and aggression, always looking to get behind the back line, stretch defenses, and force mistakes. Trossard, on the other hand, brings control and creativity. He moves smart, can drop into midfield, and is clinical when chances come his way.
Last season, he was often used as a false nine or impact sub, but if he's playing primarily on the left this year, he could hit his full potential. The mix of Martinelli's directness and Trossard's craft lets Arsenal tweak their approach depending on the opponent.
Now, the striker spot, that's where the biggest fix was needed. Last season, Arsenal rolled with Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus up top. Both have quality, but neither was consistent enough. Havertz sometimes played like a midfielder, taking too many touches instead of finishing quick, and injuries kept him out for stretches. Jesus brought energy, link-up play, and pressing, but his fitness issues and lack of goal-scoring reliability hurt the team.
Enter Viktor Gyökeres, the signing that could fix Arsenal's long-standing issue of not having a stone-cold finisher. At Sporting, he was a machine, 68 goals and 17 assists in 66 league games. Across his career, he's got over 180 goals and 59 assists in 359 matches. Those aren't just good numbers, they're elite.
Plus, he presses like a madman, fitting perfectly into Arteta's system. With him leading the line, defenses can't just focus on Saka or Martinelli anymore. They've got to deal with a striker who punishes every slip-up. And here's the real kicker. Gyökeres' presence makes everyone around him better. Havertz, Odegaard, and Martinelli will find more space because defenses can't afford to lose sight of Gyökeres.
With Eberechi Eze potentially joining the ranks, Arsenal would have even more depth and unpredictability in their attacking options. He's a player who can change the course of a game with a single pass or a moment of brilliance, making him a perfect fit for Arteta's evolving squad. While the deal isn't official yet, rumors are swirling that Arsenal have agreed on a transfer fee and the final stages are in motion.
This Arsenal squad isn't just about attack, though. To win it all, you need the full package, balance across every part of the pitch. Last season showed they can hang with Europe's best. This season, they've built a squad to finish the job.
Every gap from last year's been plugged. The defense has depth and quality from the keeper to the fullbacks. The midfield's got balance, power, control, creativity, and defensive grit. The attack's finally got variety, depth, and a striker who can score from nothing. Now it's on Arteta to deliver.
So, what do you reckon? Could Arsenal go all the way and win the Premier League or Champions League this season? Drop your thoughts in the comments.